Hey everybody, welcome back to Play Casket. These are your hosts, Paraka and
Ghost, your co-host.
in this episode we're gonna kind of talk about like really crappy DLC, like stuff that kind of gets on our ass and gets like a hair in our ass and such, and just like really bad practices. And like when we're talking about DLC, we're talking about stuff that's like paid. It doesn't matter if it's just like a chunk of content that's a one purchase all or basically microtransactions. They're still technically DLC. There are ways to access certain parts of your games and such like that. And we're going to talk about a bit about that and why that stuff's like absolutely garbage.
So, if anything, want me to start first, or do you want to start first?
No, we'll say go ahead. You could go ahead and pick that up.
So, one thing that I really do hate is EXP boosters or currency boosters. They're the worst. Only because when you start something like that, why would you say that your game isn't worth playing? That's kind of the issue.
That's a good point.
I mean, at a standard rate, like, oh, it's gonna take a while for you to play it, so we're gonna give you something to play it faster. Why would you want to enjoy your game faster? Wouldn't you want to play at a regular rate? So they test your patience too, which kind of like you'll play it so long just to test your patience that eventually you're gonna get tired of the grind, and you're just gonna
Plug it in.
Put some money into it.
Just try to get some stuff.
Yeah.
I got to just give me my waifu. I want it now. That's stuff that's kind of pisses me off too, actually. But I've only like ever really played like free to play games when that stuff's in it. So I've never really bothered with it. Usually that just means my free to play experiences with it.
Oh, you haven't seen Assassin's Creed then? Right?
No, I actually haven't played Assassin's Creed since the first one. Literally, I played the first one, and that was like the only time. Like the game gave me so much empty space that I found it boring, so I never bothered with the rest.
Yeah, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I think, has it, and that Egypt one too has it.
Oh, that's dumb. That's dumb. That makes me want them less. But it's like honestly, I've only played it with the free play, and even with free to play, it's like enjoy our game faster so you go play something else. Like, why would you want to do that? Like you just said, you just want our game so bad you want to play it for a short amount of time. Mm-hmm. Like that is pretty stupid. And I'm gonna just kind of piggyback off of that. One of the things that like upset me a lot, and it's a lot. It's very common in free to play games, but like loot boxes, gotcha, basically.
Jesus Christ.
I can understand it. I don't have to like it, but I can kind of understand it for like free to play games because they kind of want it, and I will touch up on that later.
Overwatch.
I'm getting there. I'll touch up on that eventually. Like I feel like we should that one's something we can talk about at length. Mm-hmm. But when you have a game that you pay for, and then gives you a loot box system. Mm-hmm. Then it's fucking shady.
Yeah.
For Overwatch, like you don't need keys or anything else. You get rewarded them periodically. Period.
Then why can't I pay?
Buy more?
Well, the issue is like that's okay, but why do you offer the ability to pay cash money for it? Like,
yeah, I know. That's
kind of
that's it's the weird gray area. I'm not trying to defend Overwatch because I'm going to be perfectly honest. I don't care what happens to that game. Namely because a game like Paladins that came out after them, and they were they were supposedly a carbon copy, but for some reason outpaced them in every way, shape, and form as far as content goes. And they're not even a AAA development team.
Yeah.
So, what's Overwatch's problem? But that's neither here nor there right now. But it's a weird gray area that you can buy more if you want, but it's for the most part it's for like other monies. Mm-hmm. Like you can buy it for in-game. So it's that weird in-game like I don't know.
Well, the issue I have with loot boxes though is it's a way to prolong the game because they don't. There's no specific way to get anything. It's just keep playing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It pads out. It pads out the time for unlocks.
And that's a good point too. That is definitely a good point. But at the same time, like I feel like several people now have this mentality, like even if it's a set thing, people just get that set thing, like, all right, I'm done with the game.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's also a dumb mindset because a lot of people are like like casual gamers and stuff. They'll play something until the next big thing comes up for them, and they'll play that.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of people who were talking about Smash Brothers somehow having a dying community now. Ultimate Smash Brothers Ultimate having a dying community. That's kind of laughable, right?
Yeah.
But it's mostly because most of the casual people moved on to like Mario Tennis Aces and back to Mario Kart or wherever else they feel to casually play. That's just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people are probably still playing Animal Crossing, but for them, they think, oh well, it's dying now because they need more content. They need more content. They ate up all the content. It's a multiplayer game. You literally every match you make, every match you fight on, is its own content.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with fighting games, it's a little different because now you don't unlock characters. It's all about I just want to go play other people. So.
Yeah. Well, that goes with any PvP, not just fighting games.
Yeah.
Though. Like same thing with Mario Kart. Same thing with like tennis games. Various like party games and stuff like that. We play Jackbox all the time too.
Mm-hmm.
And for some reason, nobody's asking, well, we need more quips. You can make your own quips in the more recent games. Mm-hmm. But in a game like Quiplash on the Jackbox Party Pack stuff, you don't like you can make your own, but there's a limited amount, but people always answer differently.
Yeah.
And because of that, the game's experience will always vary.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't see people demanding more quips because they've already seen them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with like, I have all the characters. I need more characters. Give me more content. Where's my new stages? Well, you have to play the game in order to have the access to the stages. Just sitting there having the access to the stage, you already won. So your DLC, you just bought the DLC, and congratulations, you earned it. And then you don't play anymore. Whereas I'm just getting my shit kicked in when playing Sephiroth. But double backing on that though.
Yeah.
One of the major ones that like kind of pissed me off with the gacha stuff though is Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, like the new one. That one was disgusting. Like I only got to play 20 minutes before I started really understanding the whole loot box system, and I was like, it killed my desire to play that game. And the game, like the gameplay itself, isn't too bad.
Yeah.
But then somebody out there has spent like maybe $500 to be able to unlock Vader all the time, and he just comes in and wrecks shit sideways, and it's dumb.
Yeah.
And then I heard that they have a preferential treatment where they team up all the people who paid for stuff against the people who don't.
Oh my god.
And so it makes them feel even more powerful because obviously they paid for power and stuff, which is absolutely atrocious to me.
Skill
like
gap. If you stack skill gap on top of paid for power, it's like,
yeah,
what's the point in playing?
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really loved Battle.right for the longest time. It's a free to play game. I tried to get so many people on it, but it's just one of those games that if you're too young to the game, you get crushed. Mm-hmm. You know, that skill gap is like brutal, but nobody can pay for more power.
Yeah.
There's no way to build on that. You just have to get good.
Yeah.
So that's why I liked it. All you had to do is get good. That's it. That's all you had to do. You know, but stuff like this with Battlefront is just absolutely atrocious.
Well, another issue too. I remember everything comes in randomly too. So you get a chance of like weapon cooldown 10%, weapon cooldown 20%, and stuff. I think it stacks too, which is the most ridiculous.
I think some powers do. Some don't.
But man, you'll just destroy people with that. Especially if you just get a lucky pull. Like everybody starts off, oh, lucky pull, I got weapon cooldown plus 20%.
Yes, it's like Fortnite. I don't really like Fortnite for that same reason. Like if certain guns created certain like skills and had certain set damage and stuff, that's fine. But then you have people getting legendary items and stuff like off the get go and getting like grenade launchers and stuff. I'm like, then we're having problems.
Yeah.
Like that's why I never really liked the Battle Royale stuff. It's always like a hodgepodge of whether or not you're gonna get a lucky pool or not. Because if you don't get a lucky pool, that next couple of minutes or next 10 minutes or how long you can survive without being absolutely crushed is just miserable. Because all you're doing is playing this runaway squirrel survival game. and as other people are dying off and you're outliving them, that's just telling you that the other person out there has more powerful equipment than you.
Well, I think it's
and there's no competition.
It's a variety over power, right?
For the most part, but power can still just...
what's more important than... Because when you try to make something more unique, or like... because you'll just keep power creeping. Mm-hmm. So what's more important is make...
Utility.
Utility?
Utility.
Yeah, utility is more important than power.
Yes. Because theoretically, like for instance, going on an example with an MMO, the reasons why rogues are naturally just so annoying and usually very powerful against stuff like mages or priests or something that's more of a very squishy character is because they can lock them down and then just go to town on them and then run away.
Yeah.
But the reason why it makes them so powerful is that they can creep up on people really quickly because they have the stealth mechanic. But the moment you get rid of that stealth mechanic because of that utility, they're useless. Oh, okay. They're useless anywhere because trying to get anywhere near one of them, they'll blow you to smithereens before you get there because you have to be melee.
But yeah, why utility is more important because sometimes you get like hold more ammo, or do I get better cooldown, or do I want stronger power? Instead for Star Wars Battlefront, it was just more damage, and
the power stick.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's dumb. And the thing is, like, I don't necessarily mind it in free to play games, but it's still tasteless to me.
Yeah,
it's still tasteless. But I understand why they do it in free to play games, but it's still, I don't know. It's always been a toxic thing for me. I don't mind when you have another alternative to access some of these gacha stuff. But the whole mentality is just dumb. Yeah. The random chance of that someday you may be even more powerful is just the dumb to me. The dumbest of dumb. But going back on the whole Smash Brothers thing, that's another thing that actually grinds my gears. Characters. Especially in games that are like archetypal, like mechanics and stuff like that. Characters in DLC is like some of the worst that kind of grinds me. Mm-hmm. One of the reasons is they're never really balanced at the beginning.
Yeah. So
they're either way too weak or they're just ridiculous shit cannons.
So why would you do this to yourself? Get all your players done because you're introducing a predator to the new ecosystem.
That is a good analogy of the words. But one of the ones that like not Smash Brothers per se, but one of the ones that really pissed me off was Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Mm-hmm. Originally, when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out, it was fairly balanced, but there was no race like Marvel vs. Capcom 2. My experiences was the race to the infinite combo.
Yeah,
it was not even a fighting game anymore. It was a race to the infinite combo. Mm-hmm. And when they added Shumagorath and Jill, Shumagorath basically made the race to the infinite combo. And some of the old MVC2 fans were excited about it because it was like, oh, it's very nostalgic. It's dumb. Now they could have patched that out eventually, but that moment just killed me for my game. Like I didn't want to play that game anymore.
Oh, okay.
Like I don't like it when characters are added on, even though I understand why. It's the biggest thing that pulls the money in. But I feel like it's the worst thing to do to a game, such as a fighting game, especially like a fighting game or a character game like Overwatch or something like that, because you add such mechanics that somehow can break the game or render some type of characters completely useless, making you just inherently more powerful because you literally block off a certain subset of
Well, by then, you're just putting band-aids on band-aids until
the and then, like you're eventually trying to cover and trying to counter this one, having a hard counter to that one, and then eventually you're just having counters to counters, and nobody's really picking anything that they're good at, just what the character is inherently good against the last person who picks something.
Yeah.
which is that the counter picking, even though I understand it's part of the PvP, it becomes predictable.
Yeah.
Oh, you're picking Junkrat. Well, then I'll pick this guy. Oh, you're picking this guy. You're picking Pharah. I'll pick McCree. Using Overwatch as an example,
Yeah.
There's always a weird counter pick, and usually the people who win couldn't easily be the person who had the last counter picker,
Yeah.
because now theoretically those guys have the more counter picks than the other character, the other people.
Oh, another one. This is kind of short one. Instant access pay.
Oh, that's dumb too.
Well, it's just, you have nothing left to unlock. Why would you just pay for it right away?
Well, it goes right to the time booster thing now. I was going to bring up too.
Yeah,
actually, like the weird time gate stuff.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, the
That's
stuff is like,
disgusting.
hey, we're building something. It's going to take 3 weeks, or you can spend $20. Play it now. That's it's kind of the same thing with your instant access.
Yeah.
The
Well,
weird
that's-
time boosters and stuff like that.
Well, it's even. I think time boost is even more disgusting because, hey, we just finished building this next item. It's going to be another 3 weeks. Do you want to pay another $20?
Yeah, that's stupid.
Like you'll just fall into a spiral of paying $20. So, I just can't believe that. Well, I do know Dungeon Keeper, they got rid of it, or they
oh my, Dungeon Keeper did.
they killed Dungeon Keeper because
It did kill Dungeon Keeper. That was the one that was like the most notorious in the
Yeah.
mobile games, where it's like you're waiting like a month and a half for like a level 5 village or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can't do anything. You're just gonna have to sit there, wait until that village kind of opens up, and then you have more time to do other things. It's like, and every time you logged in, it would just have that little pop-up window like, hey, by the way, your thing still got 5 more weeks to build.
Yeah, until the end, you're just funneling money. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point?
It's ridiculous. Ubisoft did something very similar with a game called Epic Quest of Mighty Loot.
Mm-hmm.
The game in of itself was kind of interesting. You made your own dungeons with little dungeon crawler with little dungeon traps and enemies and stuff like that. And everybody could raid other people's dungeons to try to get money and stuff, but it was kind of like a weird make your own dungeon meets Diablo thing. I actually thought it was a really great idea, a really great concept. It was fun, but they did have upgrades that, like, after level 3, it took forever.
Mm-hmm.
And they also charged the same thing. It wasn't as bad. It wasn't as notorious as Dungeon Keeper. But there's a reason why Ubisoft stopped making that game.
Oh, okay.
I liked it. Like, on the concept, on the theory of it and stuff, I thought it was a really good game. I actually liked the style of it and stuff too, but the game just didn't take off because it was just riddled with stupid microtransactions like that. It was just ridiculous.
Oh man. And I guess another one is I guess one game I would say in general, Payday 2, when they added because they added a new update and everything seems fine. They already had like a lot of DLC that everybody was really okay to play to pay for until they added loot boxes in there, and they promised the community, "Oh no, we're not going to do loot boxes. We're not going to do loot boxes." And then big giant update, loot boxes drop.
Shh! It's not loot boxes; they're chests.
I don't know. Oh my god.
Ooh.
And like, it's not. You don't really need to do it. I don't bother with it, but it's there nagging at you saying, "Oh,
you can do
don't,
this better."
You don't have everything. You don't have everything." Yeah.
Yeah, no, you don't. And what really pisses me off is there's a couple of games out there that even tie achievements to opening those things too.
Oh my god.
Like, I don't remember one off the top of my head, but there was a huge to go about some like AA developer doing something at that point too, something similar to like the size of Payday or something like that. They're like, yeah, if you open 5, 10, and 50 like loot boxes.
I remember.
I'm like, that's dumb.
Was it Call of Duty? They did one where, when you watch people open their loot boxes, you get your dailies.
Oh my god,
It basically becomes.
It kind of baited you. Like, look at these guys being so powerful.
Yeah.
You want to be just as that's some fucking shady stuff right there. I don't like that. That's
Yeah.
scummy. That is some scummy stuff. No, but like honestly, one of the biggest things I've ever had a problem with, and like this is my cherry on the top of everything. Like this is the thing that pisses me off the most about DLC. There's ones that have story in it.
Oh my god.
Okay, like the ones that have story pisses me off especially if like other games in the future reference the story that's in the DLC than the actual core game. Oh, not just BioShock. Fucking Elder Scrolls. Elder Scrolls Oblivion had a DLC that was called the Shivering Isles. Mm-hmm. Basically, it was a way to kind of like lightly explain why your main character saves the world, but for some reason isn't in the next game. Basically, it was, and Skyrim kind of touches up on it as well and references it. But basically, your main hero character basically becomes the Elder Scrolls version of a god. And because of that, they have to take on a new name and join the whole realm of Daedric lords or something to that point.
No, but he becomes a farmer in the end.
You know?
So fuck your lore.
Yeah, so like it's stuff like that, right? Like not only does your character don't keep his name or his body, he ascends and becomes a new character, I guess.
So it's not my character?
Yeah, so that's so dumb. Like it's so dumb, like it's not even like a point to try to make.
Yeah.
Like you can make these games like thousands of years apart from one another and stuff, and still like it would be still cool. Or people are like, oh, I would love to go back to Daggerfall and Skyrim. That would be pretty dope, you know, something to that point where people would wonder, right? But when you make it so quick, they're like, oh, what happened in Oblivion? How come nobody knows about that? It's because your character ascended and not became your character. Like it was just, it's so dumb. Like something to that point is just so ridiculous. And I think I'm hearing some story about Hyrule Warriors' new game, Age of Calamity, is doing the same damn thing.
What?
Yeah, the next expansion is supposedly going to have some like new characters and stuff, which makes sense, but more story that's actually important to what leads to the original Breath of the Wild.
Okay.
And that's kind of garbage. Because Breath of the Wild 2 is going to relate and reference that story in some way, shape, or form.
Oh, okay.
And then people who have Age of Calamity base game, because they might not be too keen on DLC, or they don't, like for various reasons, you know, they're going to be sitting there going, I didn't see that. Like if you're going to reference the other games, I honestly feel like you should reference just your base game.
Yeah.
You know? And then when people go in there and they're like, oh, they love it, they might get something else.
I guess two really quick ones for me, though, I would say is BioShock Infinite, Burial at Sea. BioShock Infinite had nothing to do with BioShock 1 and 2. It was just, it's just a brand name. So
It's fair.
So nobody will know what this new shooting game was. Let's just call it BioShock. And then, like, in the end, it had, like, a very vague ending. And then you had to buy the DLC. It's like, oh, now it all makes sense. Because it's just some portal that we opened. And it's like, oh my god. It's a really cheap add-on to the story. Which is just like, yeah. Oh, it's just... it connects now for some weird reason. And then Asura's Wrath. I heard it... I've never beaten this.
Okay. I'll say this too. I played maybe about 20 minutes of Asura's Wrath, but because how broken up all the gameplay is with a lot of like quick time events and then like story cutscenes and stuff, it pissed me off to a point I could not play that again. Like the story could be dope. Like people are gonna come in like, well, you should pay. Like that's fine.
You could just YouTube it.
I could YouTube it without not having to press A and actually like do a fight or two. Like it was ridiculous. It was like a group. Like a couple of groups, and then story. A couple of groups, and then story.
Yeah.
And then a boss, and then story. Like, it was...
Yeah, I skipped it.
It upset me so much that I could not, like... Well, even if you're skipping it, you still have to wait for it to load back in and stuff. So you're, like, taken back out of the game periodically.
Yeah.
And it just It upset me. It pissed me off so much. Like, I did not like that game. Now that I've said that, please continue about how horrible Sora's Wrath is.
Well, I think the ending, he gets stuck in a time loop, and he kind of just breaks it, but it ends kind of in a cliffhanger. This is from what I heard about just like
Oh, dumb.
the dumb ending. But I think for an extra $5, you pay for like an extra stage and like get the true ending, and that's it.
That is ridiculous. That is like that's beyond stupid.
Oh
Like,
my god!
Like
Yeah.
you fight 2 more bosses, you just fight 2 more groups and then have the true ending. That's garbage.
Yeah.
That's garbage. It's Sora Wrath, you're garbage. Feel shame, Capcom.
Although it's so cool, I might pick it up again just to play.
No, it's not. Feel garbage.
Or okay, I'll YouTube it.
Okay, good. Good. Still garbage. But yeah, no, that seems that I would say that would wrap up about all of our big pains in the ass about really crappy DLC.
For now.
For now, maybe. But I would like to thank you all for like listening in, and you know, if you like us, don't forget to subscribe and share it with anybody else, and we'll see you on the other side.